Hey, what's going on, guys? The Horror Man back with a Blu-ray, DVD, and VHS update.
Let's get physical, physical. I wanna get physical.
Media. I usually end these update videos with my VHS haul, so this time I think I'll start with the tapes, to switch it up. First up is a movie I'll be giving an obscure review very soon, because it's lost on VHS. Comfort and Joy. This one's pretty rare, so I was happy to find it at the thrift store. Next up is Alfred Hitchcock's The Trouble with Harry. Now, I do own this movie on VHS already, but it's a different release, and I loved this cover art, so I had to grab it. Remo Williams' The Adventure Begins on tape. Rest in peace to Fred Ward. For some reason, I never owned Final Destination on tape, so I grabbed this too. Here's another obscurity. This is a Ukrainian film, A Friend of the Deceased. Here's another rare VHS, because for some reason this movie has never been released on disc in the US. Looking for Mr. Goodbar. Here's 7 Hours to Judgment with Beau Bridges. And Someone to Watch Over Me with Mimi Rogers and Tom Berenger. Here's one you don't see around too much, and I don't think I've ever heard anyone talk about. To Be the Best. I found this Embassy Home Entertainment VHS release of Empire of the Ants. And from Ants to The Fly. I was super excited to find this VHS. It's the original The Fly with Vincent Price. I've been wanting this tape to go along with The Fly remake from David Cronenberg and The Fly 2, which I already own on VHS. And here's the original The Haunting on tape to go along with my VHS copy of the remake. Which brings us to the DVD portion of this update. I also found the original The Haunting on DVD in this snapper case. And I found the original snapper case release of Eyes Wide Shut. Now this is important because this is the only disc release of this movie in its original aspect ratio. Kubrick's intended full-frame presentation on this disc features even more nudity. And from snapper cases to Snapdragon, starring Pamela Anderson. I finally picked up A Very Harold and Kumar Christmas. I've never seen this one, but I do own the first two. I've heard some mixed things about this one, but I'm curious to check it out for myself. The Snowman. Believe it or not, this is a super rare DVD and pretty pricey. Everything Ernest 3-movie collection containing Ernest Goes to Camp, Ernest Goes to Jail, Ernest Scared Stupid, plus a bonus episode of Hey Vern, It's Ernest. This was an awesome thrift find, considering how much it goes for online. This may come as a surprise, but I've never owned The Sixth Sense until now. I picked up the DVD. I've also never owned The Others, so I grabbed that too. I found the exclusive Walmart DVD release of George A. Romero's Bruiser. I always thought I had this DVD, and then back when Jason and I watched it together, I couldn't find it, so I had to watch my VHS copy. So I found this at the thrift store and picked it up. I've been wanting to check this out despite all of the negative reviews, and we all know how that goes. Usually, I like stuff that people hate. So, here's Morbius. And another one on which Jason and I will probably be putting a positive spin at some point. The New Mutants. I finally picked up The Ring 2 on DVD. This is the unrated edition. And that's because I also found Rings on DVD, which is the third film in the trilogy. I already own the American remake, The Ring, and the original film. I found this 4-film favorites Dracula's set at the thrift store. It contains Horror of Dracula, Dracula Has Risen from the Grave, Taste the Blood of Dracula, and Dracula A.D. 1972. I was happy to find this for $1. I picked up the Firestarter remake at Walmart because this is one of its early Black Friday movie deals. I've been curious about it, and Jason picked it up too, so it'll probably be another one featured in Positive Spin. I grabbed Spiral while I was there because this is the only Saw film I did not own. There was a lot of hype around this HBO original series for a while, and I found out it was finally getting a DVD release, so I picked it up. Euphoria, Season 1, Season 2, plus special episodes. Well, I watched it, and yeah. Here's a rare Severin DVD release of what's supposed to be a truly bizarre giallo, In the Folds of the Flesh. I cannot wait to watch it. This was an interesting find. It's basically an Evil Dead ripoff. Evil Cult, and this DVD is apparently out of print. Yet another potential entry for positive spin, eventually. Street Fighter, The Legend of Chun-Li. Unleashed and unrated. This was another cool thrift find. It's a brand new, still-sealed DVD copy of The Devil and Max Devlin. For those of you who don't know, this was the first PG-rated movie Disney released, and it stars Bill Cosby as the Devil. Albeit light, this movie does feature some horror elements. The DVD is out of print and can get a bit pricey online as well. Here is a movie I've been searching for forever. Now, I could have just grabbed it online, I'm sure, but for some reason, it's just one of those films always on my wish list that I check for every time I'm at the thrift store or other stores like FYE and other movie stores. Enemy, starring Jake Gyllenhaal. I've heard this is pretty amazing, and I've been wanting to see it for years. Speaking of amazing, Jason hyped this one up pretty well for me. Rent-A-Pal, starring Will Wheaton. This is an IFC Midnight title that has recently gone out of print. It was released by Scream Factory, and I'm glad to add it to my collection. On to the Blu-rays now, with one you saw in a video earlier this week, Pearl. If you've watched that video on my channel, you know how I feel about it. Silent Night. I will be reviewing this one during the 12 Days of Christmas. Man, I would love to say more about this one right now, but I'll save it for the review. Here's a comedy I've always wanted to see, especially since it features a naked Aubrey Plaza. Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. I got this one based on Jason's recommendation. He watched it and absolutely loved it. So when it arrives, we watched it together, and I loved it too. Piercing. I'll repeat what he said about it. The last line in this film either makes it or breaks it. I found Annabelle Comes Home on Blu-ray at the thrift store, and since this is my favorite movie in the Conjuring universe, I grabbed it. I grabbed Shazam on Blu-ray, just in time for the Christmas season. And I found the Blu-ray release of Eastern Promises, which I don't see around too often. These last two are straight from Wild Eye releasing as part of their Visual Vengeance line. First up is LA AIDS Jabber, and here's Slaughter Day. I will be reviewing both of these very soon. Well guys, that's it for this update. What do you think? Comment below and let me know. Thanks for watching guys. Hit that thumbs up and be kind. Subscribe.